Welcome, guys, to the Balanced Business Dad. Again, this is Dustin Hogue, and as always, I'm here with my co-host, RJ Campbell. Remember, this is a conversation that focuses on the balance of the important pillars of the life of the everyday dad. Those pillars include faith, health, marriage, fatherhood, brotherhood, and career or business. And today on episode 4, guys, we are going to talk about I'm pausing here because this one's been a challenge for me my whole life, but it's health. It's that second pillar that I put above everything else except for faith. And I'll get into my story here shortly that shows that I didn't always do that. But again, welcome today, guys. We're on health. RJ, how you doing today?
I'm doing really good today. Good. This is a fun topic. Everybody, well, I shouldn't say that. Maybe everybody doesn't like to talk about health or even hear about health because it depends on if that's a struggle or not. But this is a more fun topic. A little lighter. We should be able to laugh at each other on this one.
Yeah, and I'm going to call RJ out here because this is one of the differences in here is health has been pretty easy for him, right? He's an athlete, he's a cyclist. Health's been a lot easier for him than it has been for me, and we're going to go really into that. There's also two types of health, guys. There's that mental health and there's that physical health, and it all starts from what we're feeding ourselves. We're either feeding our body to fuel ourselves and we're feeding our mind to fuel ourselves. And what we feed ourselves is what we get out of it, right? And mental health is so much like the physical health. And mental health is something I focused on a long time. I was working on my personal development, if you will. I always wanted to make sure I was confident and happy, yet my physical health was not that.
Right. And so you guys aren't looking at Dustin because, this is a podcast. But I met Dustin, oh my gosh, it's going to be close to 10 years ago. We started working together. And Dustin's a pretty big guy and had been, from what I understand, I didn't know when he was young, but he said he was always overweight, always struggled with his weight, or maybe not even struggled, just was always a big guy. Yeah. So above 300 pounds, right?
317 pounds was my heaviest at 6'1". I've always been a big guy, and I've always accepted the fact, and I think that was one of the challenges with my health journey. And I guess we can jump right into my journey here, and then we'll go into more here. Yet I was overweight, not athletic, didn't move. Don't want to say lazy because I always worked, yet just wasn't in good health. Obese my entire life.
Right.
I was always the fat kid in school. I was never a shy fat kid. I was just the fat kid.
Yeah, I think that's funny because Dustin loves to go to the beach, loves to go to Mexico. He and his wife, and he always jokes about, he's like, hey, it never bothered me. I'm always been the big guy. He's like, I'm the fat guy with no shirt on the beach, and I don't care. Dustin, as you can tell probably already, extremely confident, and his confidence didn't wane that way either. So it didn't bother you.
It didn't bother me, and through the journey that I actually went on in the last year, in 2021, which I'll start talking about that in a second, I really started doing some self-reflection and realized, was that all a facade?
Right.
Was that a barrier? And that was a huge barrier, right? Because I'm confident, and I don't think too many people saw through it yet. Was it a facade?
Yeah.
So my story, and I'll try to sum this up as quick as possible when it comes to health, started January 1st of 2021. I was sitting in a mastermind with coaches and things like that, and 12 strangers. And the premise of it is you get 45 minutes to go around the room and say what's going wrong in your life. And I went first because there's that confidence again, and I said everything's going right in my life. I'm very blessed, and I'm a very blessed man. And the coaches there, excuse my language, one unfortunately passed away this past year, and one I'm still extremely close to, they called bullshit. They called bullshit. And I didn't even know these guys from Adam at that point. And when they called bullshit, I finally said, all right, I'd like to lose a few pounds, right? And a lot of questions happened, and a lot of things that they discovered is that I never really worked hard for too much of the success I had, is what it came down to. And my coach, Chuck, who passed away, looked at me and said, sounds like a pretty mediocre life.
Wow. Yeah, I would not describe your life as mediocre with all you've achieved.
And after the sensation of wanting to hit him, I realized he was right. So in 2021, that day, it was January 12th, 2021, I vowed to regain my health. And doing it, I was going to box. I was going to box a professional boxer because I liked boxing running sound absolutely horrible.
It is.
They were trying to talk me into doing a physique contest. I'm like, I'm not shy. I'll go show my physique now. Yet I'm a child of the 80s, so the Rockies always gave me energy and still do to this day. I'd watch them all. So I said I was going to box. And November 13th of 2021, I did. Raised $11,000 for charity, and I was 65 pounds lighter than what I was January 12th. And my health journey started that year. It's obviously not ending, and we'll talk more about that in a minute here. Yet it's changed my life, and why we put this pillar above everything except for faith is because if your health's not there, everything else is lacking. Everything else is lacking. Your marriage, as a father, as a business owner, as a friend, all of it, it's lacking if you don't have your health there. And you have to put your health above that.
Yep. Yeah, there's no doubt about that. And we talk about, so much of this podcast, the podcast is for dads. So we're all dads, or wannabe dads, depending on who's listening. And I think, I don't even know what the number is. It's a majority of us. We might be in shape when we're younger and you're more active, but boy, once you get married or get into that developed relationship with somebody, I think that's what we see so much of us, where our health goes downhill. You get out of shape. You have a lot of other priorities, your marriage. At that point in your life, your job starts to take over. You start to have kids, and all of a sudden, maybe you feel a little bit of guilty about going to the gym like you used to and working out because you should be with your family, or you get a little bit complacent because now you have a significant other, so you're not having to work so hard anymore to find one. So I think that's, to me anywhere, where that kind of that downward spiral comes about, not just of health. And I'm just saying that you have to look that great and you want to just be able to take your shirt off at the beach and be ripped, but just in general your health. You're not eating as much, you're not exercising as much, you're not even moving as much because you're more focused on work and on family, things like that.
And what's interesting about that is if you're lacking in the health, you're going to lack everywhere else, right? If your physical health is deteriorated, you're bored, you're lazy, you're not working out, your stamina goes down. Again, we're talking to men here, guys. Your sex drive goes down. That makes your marriage probably have a little bit of rocky relationships, because then they might be thinking, hey, do they not like me as much, right? Do they not find me attractive? And really, no, it's just you're the lazy slob right now. It has nothing to do with them. Or you can't play with your kids. There's a lot that goes into this, guys, and that health and keeping us balanced on it, because I can also have talked to people where they spend, 4 hours in the gym a day and they're not spending time with their kids, or they're not spending time with their wives, and that's their escape. And we can't have that either.
Right.
Yeah, we can lead a healthy, balanced lifestyle.
Right. Yeah. The first word of the podcast title, balanced. Yes. And that's what we're talking about here with health. Yeah. Maybe, it's not 4 or 5 hours a day in the gym. I mean, it could be, again, depending on what you are and your priorities are and what you do for a living. But, that's where the balance comes in. We don't want to be so complacent that health starts to wane. You want to be around for a long life with your kids and your spouse, but you want to look good. You want to feel good, and I don't care what anybody says. When you look good, you feel good. Put on a nice suit, you feel better. You feel you're in better shape, feel better. Yeah, there's some ego there, but it's confidence, and it just makes you feel good about yourself and feel good about life.
Yeah, and I'm one that, and I have a long way to go, guys. So I'm not in tip-top shape by any means, yet it's an ongoing progress for me right now. But I got to tell you, I'm loving every minute of it. And that's what's interesting, is I changed my mindset around the whole health, word, the health lifestyle, but now it's a lifestyle for me. And I think that's something that we really need to talk about here, is to get healthy, we have to make it sustainable.
Right.
And there has to be a balance in there, because how many people have been on the yo-yo diet or the yo-yo gym thing, and they bounce right back to where they were, and they're not healthy. And it's not just overweight. It can be underweight too, right? So that's why I said the healthy part of it has to be sustainable.
Yeah.
And we have to live, and that's why it goes back to the being in balance when it comes to your health.
Not the extremes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or we talk about a diet.
Yeah.
Or an exercise routine, whatever that is. I'm running a marathon in 3 months. I'm going to do it. And then you just go overboard, and you're absolutely miserable and hate it, because we mentioned it earlier. Running sucks. I mean, to some of you, it probably doesn't, but I don't know what's wrong with those people that like to go out and do that.
And that's something, too. It's you got to find something you like to do.
You do.
Or you're not going to stick with it. And that's anything, right? That's absolutely anything. So if you want, what's really cool about this is if you want to get into the healthy lifestyle, if you want to start working out, guys, there's so many options you can do here. Right?
Oh, Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, a plethora of one. I just personally started martial arts, yet I'm bringing in my son with me. So me and my 5-year-old now go to Kuk Sool, a traditional martial art from South Korea, and we're loving every minute of it. And it's quite the workout. And it's amazing bonding time.
Yeah, fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My wife and I work out every week together at least once at a specialized gym. We like to hike together. Like, there's so much that you can do this. And when there's physical activity involved in the marriage, it leads to other physical activity, if you guys can read between the lines there, right? Like, because you're elevated, your heart rate's up, your euphoria is up, I would say. And it makes things a lot more fun, guys. It really does.
Yeah. Okay, so I have to go back onto something for those who listened to the first episode of this podcast. And Dustin referred to me as an extreme athlete. Okay, nobody's ever said that before. So I'm not a big guy like Dustin, and I've never been big. Not small, just average size. Always have been. Not didn't grow up as an athlete. Played all the sports like everybody else did in a small town. I played basketball and baseball. Didn't necessarily excel at anything, and didn't play sports in high school and college. I'm one of the few people that readily admits that I did not play sports in high school, as opposed to claiming otherwise. But some of that I attribute to my health nowadays. I didn't beat up my body when I was young. Not that I wasn't athletic. Even joke about that with our sons. We can play anything and look okay at it. But no, not an extreme athlete. So for me, though, when I was 40, almost 20 years ago, I decided I was going to run a marathon. It was the day after Thanksgiving, and we're wandering around the mall killing time with my kids, and went into a bookstore. It's like, I'm going to get a book on marathons. And I'm over in the exercise.
By the way, that's never came up in my life. Never said those words.
I saw what I thought was a book on marathons, and I opened it up. I think I saw ON on the end, I'm guessing. But anyway, I picked it up and started searching through it, and it said it was triathlons. Well, to me, a triathlon was people over in Hawaii competing in the Ironman. I didn't know there was anything other than a full Ironman triathlon. That's all we knew about it. I started looking through that and saw, wow, I didn't realize that there are sprint triathlons, shorter triathlons, triathlons of every length. So then I decided I'm going to sign up and do one of those in the spring. And that's where that all became what I did for a couple of years. So I literally went out right away and joined the gym, so I had access to a pool so that I could start running other than on a treadmills, because this was wintertime. It was Thanksgiving. I had a bike, so I had to put it on the trainer in the basement, and then the next spring started with sprint triathlons. And for the next couple of seasons, I did the shorter triathlons. But this is all just going to where Dustin said, you have to find something that you like. I think you guys have probably figured out I wasn't big on running. I just find it really boring. And it's not a lot of fun to me, but I had to run a lot. And the swimming was the same way. I swam from the time I was a kid. We had a pool. We were on the swim team. But that getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning, going into the Renaud Center here in where we live outside of St. Louis and St. Peter's, and swimming lap after lap after lap for an hour in that pool, just staring at that blue line on the bottom. Nope, not for me either. It was boring. Did it for a couple of years. But I fell in love with the cycling part of triathlons. So that's where Dustin jokes about me being an extreme athlete. But you have to find out what you like. And then to this day, that's all I stuck with. I don't run, I don't swim, but I started cycling. Met great people. It's great. It's an activity you can do with others. So,
but he acts like this is just so easy. I mean, he rides 100 miles on a Saturday in his basement, hooked up to this crazy contraption. That's pretty extreme to me.
All right, that might be a little extreme.
Yet this is the difference, because health can be easy to some people and health cannot be easy to other people, right? So I am striving to become that athlete where, hey, I can go jump on a bike and do 30 miles, or I can do whatever sport I want to do and really, really enjoy it. And right now it's a little bit of work. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
Everything I'm doing is a little bit harder because I'm carrying, probably to this point, another 30 to 40 extra pounds, even though I'm already down 65 pounds. So it's more challenging. Yet I'm pushing myself to do it because I know that I live a better life the healthier I am.
Oh, there's no doubt about it. Yep.
I'm a firm believer of God's going to take me when he wants to take me. And you can believe whatever you want with that, but I believe that my time is written. God is going to take me when he wants to take me.
We all have an expiration date tattooed on us somewhere. It's just invisible ink.
Yeah. Yet why I'm on this earth, I want to live life to the fullest.
And what do your kids notice?
Just more activity, right? I mean, we joined a martial arts gym together, me and my 5-year-old. And we actually, probably about 30 days after you can download this and listen to this episode, or all the other episodes that are out, my son and I are going to compete in a martial arts tournament.
Oh.
And that's funny. But To be able to do that together,
Yeah.
that's amazing.
Yep.
But we talked, if you remember, talked on the last episode, we talked about the faith in ourselves. And I'm kind of tying these two together, or 2 episodes ago, I guess. But the faith in ourselves to make sure we protect our family, the faith in our health to make sure we protect our family. I want to make sure if there is, God forbid, a fire in my house, I can get my family out, right? And you have to be in good shape to do that. Or if someone tries to attack my family, I mean, there's a crazy world we live in. I want to be able to fight the attacker off if I can, right? So health means so much.
Right.
And we're just talking about the physical health here, but that's a big part of it. And guys, I promise you, I am living proof of this. The healthier you are, the better you feel, the happier you are, and everything else kind of starts working.
Right.
It's pretty amazing how that works.
Yeah. Your business has even exploded. Is that a coincidence?
I guess it's not a coincidence.
I don't think
yes,
so.
but I mean, the last 18 months, our businesses have done more than they ever have. And things just seem to be working, right? You've heard the part that wealth follows health. It's 100% accurate, right? And there's so many business owners right there, so many people in their careers that are killing themselves, not focusing on their health to excel in their business.
Right. Yeah.
I'm going to put a challenge out there to you right now, and I'm going to say, focus on your health and watch everything else excel. It's not the other way around, guys. These pillars are in order for a reason. The health is going to be the most important. And it's almost selfish, right? And this is a time in our lives we can be selfish because health is only you. You can't focus on somebody else to focus on your health. You just can't.
Right.
So be a little bit selfish when it comes to this, guys. Work with your significant others, your spouse or something like that. Hey, I have to have this time, but I'm doing it for us. I did a program called 75 Hard that some of you may or may not have heard of.
Insane.
I don't know if it's insane, and I don't know if necessarily know if I recommend it to everyone. Yet what it does is it teaches you the discipline, but you have to work out twice a day for 45 minutes. One has to be outside. You have to drink a gallon of water. You have to read 10 pages of personal development, and you have to take a progress picture every day. Those are the things you have to do, and you have to do them for 75 days straight. And if you miss one of those activities, you have to restart.
Start back at day one.
And I wanted to make sure that me doing that for 75 days didn't really affect my family. So I made sure before my kids wake up at 6:20 in the morning that the first 45-minute workout was done. The reading of the 10 pages is done. The progress picture was done. So I could go on and make sure that I was not taking time away from my family to focus on my health. So what I'm saying there is, guys, there's a balance. Instead of me waking up, staying up till 10 or 11 after everybody goes to bed, I went to bed at 9 a.m. so I could wake up
Or
at
9
4
p.m.
a.m. But 9 p.m., excuse me.
You fell asleep at 9 a.m. because you'd already been up 5 hours.
Yeah. So, guys, there's a balance here that we have to have, yet it's so important to make sure we're focusing on this one.
Yeah, 100%. And this is, you don't want people preaching, this is what you need to do to get healthy, but it really is. It is so simple. It's not easy. Dustin says that all the time. It is simple.
Very simple, not easy.
Yeah, but it doesn't have to be that hard plan, or you don't have to be in your basement for 7 hours, 35 minutes riding a bike on a trainer so you can get in your 100 miles. But I tell everybody, I tell my kids, tell my wife this all the time, tell people that ask, there are just 3 things that you need to do. Move often, and that's walking. I mean, you just walk. Move often, sprint every once in a while. And that could be just playing with your kids. Let's talk about that. That's going out. Maybe it's playing ultimate frisbee with the buddies, or maybe you're outside with your kids or your grandkids, and you're just running around in the yard. It's that simple. That's the activity. And every once in a while, just lift heavy shit. Yeah. And that could be the same thing. You're outside, you're playing with kids, you get down on the ground and you do 3 push-ups because that's what you can do, or 5,
right,
or 10, or there's a big rock on the walking trail where you're walking with your significant other and you bend over and you pick up the big rock a couple of times. It is really that simple, and it will make a huge difference. It's just those things. Just move a little bit, sprint every once in a while, pick up some heavy stuff.
And I'm going to say some of that movement needs to be outside.
Outside is good.
Right? That vitamin D does so much for you that really helps with that health, too. But, yeah, I love that. Do those 3 things. And, guys, we're not medical experts by any means. We're not trainers. I spent a lot of money on trainers in the last 18 months. Yet we're just people who have done it. And I think that's the thing. And there's other people out there like us. And again, we can start this. We'll have more of these conversations in the Facebook group and the Facebook page. Yeah, guys, we can go out there and move. We can go out there and feel better. Be a little selfish when it comes to this. Regain your health back because you'll excel in everything else.
Right. And the one thing we didn't talk much about, so we'll take a couple more minutes,
Sure.
is the mental health part.
Yeah.
Dustin mentioned that in the first episode, and I was like, oh, damn. I don't even think about the mental aspect of this, of the health. But what
Yeah.
you put in your body and what you put in your mind.
Yeah, and what you put in the mind is so, so important. And guys, this is some of the stuff that I'm going to challenge you to stop watching the news, right? Because it's much easier to put bad things in our mind than it is to find the good things. So maybe right now we're just eliminating some of the bad stuff,
Yeah.
right? Because the reality of it is what we focus on expands. So if we're focusing on the horrific stories we hear on the news, that's going to expand around us, right? We're going to be in a different kind of mood, all sorts of things. Yet if we're focusing on and putting the positive things in our mindset, then we're going to have the adverse effect where we're going to be more positive.
Right.
And,
Yeah.
and there's books, there's podcasts, there's YouTube videos, there's so much we can put to help our mind out, our mental health, if you will. And it's so crucial. So crucial.
Yeah. Another one. Simple, but it's not easy.
Yeah.
We talk, oh, it's just the power of positive thinking. Oh, yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
But, we know it's not that simple, but it is eliminating some of that negative. Some of that negative could be relationships. I mean, there are
Absolutely.
people we know, there are people I work with that, when that person comes into your office and comes in, or stops by where you work, and you're just like, oh, God, here it comes.
Yeah.
They're going to complain about the economy. They're going to complain about the news. They're going to complain about the company where you work. Oh, I think we're going to be closed in 3 months. And I mean, just, those negative people like that, man, the more you could do to filter that stuff out, it's a big difference.
It's a huge difference. I'm going to give you guys an exercise right now that can kind of help with this when we're kind of in that funk. And this is, I guess, going towards the mental health, but it's something that I coach people on. I think that everybody should have one, but it's a gratitude journal.
Oh, yeah.
The science of it, and I'm not a scientist by any means, and I have no idea where I heard this, but I know there's science around it that says if we're in a gratitude state of mind, we can't be in a disappointing or an upset state of mind, right? And so this is as simple as when we feel ourselves getting to that, when we feel ourselves down, when we feel our mental health is down, guys, I want you to stop and I want you to write 3 things you're thankful for. And it doesn't have to be these huge, most amazing things. It can be, I'm thankful that I hit that green light on the way to work today. It can be, I'm thankful for that donut. Not that we should be talking about donuts. We're talking about health yet.
But I'm thankful for donuts.
I'm thankful for that cup of coffee that didn't burn me today. Guys, start doing that, and you'll be surprised the difference you'll start feeling.
You will. Yeah. I should do that. We've talked about that all the time.
Yeah.
I am grateful, and I try to be very cognizant of being grateful. But writing it down makes a big difference. My wife is really good about that.
Yeah.
She does her gratitude every single day
That's
and talks
amazing.
about how much it just mentally just gets you up. It just makes you feel so much better when you think about, regardless of what's going on, how many ways that we're blessed. Great
Yep.
kids, good job. Like I said, you hit the green light that normally is red every time.
Yep.
Whatever that is.
And writing it down, yes, extremely important. Yet, if you don't have a time to write it down, yell it. And I'm going to tell you a story, a real quick story, right? So it was a rainy day, and we understand, and I get it, that most people, and including myself, I've been guilty of this, where the rainy gloom brings you down,
Yep.
which is ridiculous, because why should weather bring you down?
Yeah, who cares? It's weather.
Right. And I remember I was taking my son to school, and it was gloomy, and I was starting to complain about it. I was like, oh, man, it's raining, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, wait a second. If he feels that I'm gloomy and upset because of the weather, then that's what he's going to be, right? So I immediately stopped myself, and I was like, Brody, we just need to thank God that it's raining on 3. And we both yelled, thank you, God, for the rain. Immediately, how you can see somebody's physiology state change. The shoulders are back. They're happy. Everything's better just by yelling it. So, right, if you can't write it down that you hit that green light, yell, thank you for letting me hit that green light. And you'd be surprised what your mindset does.
I love it.
Yeah.
All right. This has been good. I knew this was one that if we weren't careful, we'd talk for like 50 minutes on a lot of things. But, again, it's physical health, mental health, and mental health would be in the way. It's positive. It's just putting the same good things in your body that you're putting it, the same way putting them into your mind. That's really what this is about. And the balance. It's funny. We're saying, you need to make this a priority. So maybe there's, at times where it's, this is when you do have to strive for the balance. I need to make this fit into my day, but you can't make it be imbalanced for the rest of your day by how much you're exercising or whatever that health is, whatever that you're trying to achieve.
Right. But there's ways around it, right? So sometimes you might have to be out of balance to get into balance, right? because if I'm behind the curve when it came to health.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, it was pretty extreme for
Right.
a year. It was really extreme. I mean, you can ask RJ. People saw me on social media. I mean, I was out there. I was putting in the work
Every day.
hours a day, and not doing things that I would have done, not having a drink with friends. Just a lot went into it. Yet now that I did the work, I can have a little bit more balance around it too, right? Where I can have a drink. Maybe I am right now. You never know. Yet you can have the balance of it. Just sometimes know it's okay to step out of balance to get into balance. Yet we know with the premises we always have to strive to keep the balance in all these pillars.
Yeah, and I think we talked about that in the first episode. We're never fully in balance. These 6 pillars are not always even all the way across.
Right.
So, and this is that one of the instances where you have to focus a little bit more on the health to get there, and then you can, then it comes back in balance as you can reach the goal where you were trying to be.
Yep.
So, great conversation. This one was easy. Glad you guys were with us for this today. And as always, if you want to comment or you really just have an additional conversation about this, the easiest way is to find us on our Facebook page, which is facebook.com/BBDads.
The BB Dad. Yes.
BB Dad. So that's the easiest way if you want to just have more conversation or leave us some comments, and we'll comment back on that. And then Dustin, where else? What are the usuals?
Well, yeah. So as usual, actually, if you guys are really enjoying our podcast, you want to share it with your friends, please do. Like us wherever you get your podcast at. Go ahead, like us, thumbs up us, whatever they do on these social media things these days and these podcast things. Just go ahead and help us get the word out there to these other dads, because we know we're not alone with this. You can also find us at thebalancedbusinessdad.com. You can email us at info@thebalancedbusinessdad.com. Guys, it's been a blessing. As always, looking forward to talking to you guys again.
It's been great. Have a great day, guys.